everybody. Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. Idaho4. Today is Thursday all day. Why hasn't Judge Hippler made an order in forever? That's the title. Well, it's about time that Moscow got back to me on something, and that's what we're going to first talk about here. What you guys are lovely looking at here is they responded finally to a public request that I put in. They said it was, I made a public request here on November 10th. Okay, you have 21 days. So when they got back to me, it was actually outside of the 21 days because I just got this yesterday. So that's my first issue. But this is my first now attempt. We are going to put in our first appeal ever with the Moscow Police Department and legal. And I'm going to show you why. Okay. What I was asking for right here is in my request. They had to go a little extra route because they had to flag my request, which is good. It means attention because I supplemented my, I just didn't fill out the stupid little online chart. I also sent an email in as well as a letter with exhibits. Yeah, I'm that bitch. With exhibits. So this was, sent back. And describe my request. The law table. Okay. The law table that was released with the MPD supplemental 1 through 50 reports. It was the first report listed with narrative. I am requesting this unredacted and in compliance with Judge Hippler's order. I have attached the portion of his order that pertains to my request. I have submitted an email to legal with an attached letter. If you have any questions, please feel free to call or email me. Okay. Now, everyone's probably like, what the hell does that mean? What did you request? Okay. What I requested was, I'm going to pull it up here. Zoop. Okay, remember when Moscow Police Department, they released their 1 through 50 and then 51 through 100, and they put this all on the website, and you can go and get every single written report allegedly that they had put out, okay? And, okay, MPD. Here it is. Oh, sweet. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Sorry, let me see if this opened. Open up. Yes. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So let me share this. Here is the law incident table. You see that? Don't. Okay. Well, what this is, it was 29 pages. And this is where, let's scroll down. This is outlining all the items of evidence, okay? And do you see all these redactions? See these? Okay. Well, I wanted my law table here, these 29 pages, unmotherfucking redacted. It is in the public's interest, and it outweighs, and this is why we get to get our first appeal in. Okay. First of all, I cited Judge Hippler's order. And let me pull up my actual FOIA here. In Judge Hippler's order, he's been, every time he makes a ruling on his determination on what can be, unsealed, okay, he puts an order in. And so this was an order that he put down, which is an order order unsealing redacted and or maintaining the sealing status of second document. Okay, remember that? So here, I need to refresh your guys' memory. He says it was 6 pages. On September 3rd, 2025, the court issued an order seeking the parties' position regarding the unsealing of the second set of documents identified therein. The court has reviewed the parties' respective positions and responses and rules as follows. Documents to unseal. Okay. And these would have been items number 44 through, went all the way to 87. Okay. And when you're, scrolling through this, we get to things like the witness list. Okay. The witness list. And do you remember when Judge Hippler determined how we all got that witness list? You guys remember when we all got the witness list? And I did my lives and I was like, okay, guys, here's the witness list. This is who the state was planning on calling to the stand. Here's the defense's witness list. And Judge Hippler's orders were that the witness list there's no, we're unsealing it. This is not initials. This is not, nobody's getting redacted. The only thing that are being redacted are date of births and addresses, period. Okay. So that means, okay, how in the world, if that's the ruling, and that's when one of my exhibits is right there, boom. The redaction of this is, Judge Hippler said that none of these witnesses, except for the only people, is with the documents that have to do with the alternate perpetrators. Okay. So the reason I did this is because this was the fastest, most effective way for, if this gets unredacted, then I will then be able to go through all of the 560 some pages that the Idaho State Police gave us in police reports and the 314 reports that were X amount of number of total pages that the Moscow Police Department put out. And there will be no guessing as to who this piece of evidence belongs to. Okay. Now, would it take time to do that? Yes, but would we be accurate? There would be no guessing. Okay. There is no guessing then at the fact of here. On 7/5/2023, right here, item 764, Blank's interview starts with a T. Well, and just so you guys know, we're going to win on the appeal. I'm going to destroy them on this appeal. Literally destroy. Because they can deny you whatever and then you appeal it. This is the first time that I get to, I was like, okay, I get my first appeal. Here we go, because I believe that we can win this. This is where you're over redacting. Judge Hippler put an order. Why are these redacted? Why are you redacting who you interviewed? Blank's interview. If I am supposed to do FOIA requests because I want to say, hey, I want the audio recording of item 764. Who's the interview with? Well, I have no fucking clue who the interview with is because it's with T redacted interview. Item 764. You think that that's okay for transparency? We're trying to check on the government and see what the hell happened here. And you think that you're going to impede. Dude, first of all, what are you redacting? And this is what they said. They're citing it that it's under my request My request. So I wanted to explain what my request entailed. My request is saying, see these little redactions here that has to do with what was collected in this motherfucking case? I believe it's the last name, but whatever. Cell data. This DNA kit. This family HD. This house video. Like, what is this? This video. What are you redacting? And they think that they think that naming, not giving me this name, that they're saying here, that the city examination of records indicates that the contents redacted are exempt from public disclosure because production of the records would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy pursuant to Idaho Code 74-1051 and 74-1241C. I said, no, the fuck it doesn't. But this was their response after I said, here's my exhibits to show you. This is what Judge Hippler ordered. Judge Hippler ordered that the witnesses' names will not be redacted. If the witness, these people all in here, all of this stuff is witnesses / exhibits that are part of the record. Okay? So how are you redacting this? And you're saying that it's in the interest of who has a privacy interest in this? How can somebody have possibly a privacy interest in something of the name of the item 813? How is the name of that an interest of privacy? You collected this as evidence in a murder investigation. And you think the name of the piece of evidence is who? Who has a privacy interest in that? How does that outweigh the public's right to know? Exactly. We're going to destroy this. Okay. Whose privacy is at risk? Okay. Now, Hippler isn't the one that answered this. Okay. So this was answered by the legal assistant. The statutory exemptions asserts herein shall not constitute a waiver of any and all other legal bases or privileges, which may also be applicable to the documents which are subject of your request. So they're just saying, hey, guess what? We also have the right to, after you appeal this and you state that, okay, right, we're not going to be able to get by that it's privacy. And yeah, we have more of an interest in this, right? Then they're saying that we can also then, we reserve our right. We're not waiving anything to be able to argue the fact that it meets one of the other criterias that, well, then why didn't you say that? You think you're going to have a bite at the apple twice? But in here it says, the statutory exemptions asserted herein shall not constitute a waiver of any and all other legal basis. Well, maybe you should have done other reasons as why you're exempting this. Because I think that that's funny to write that. Remember, this got flagged, and anytime you're doing your job and you're doing it well, the reason that my request got flagged is because, hey, yeah, they posted an exhibit and they're basically posting the judge's order that if the witnesses' names are not to be redacted, the witnesses' names, that's who these interviews are with, their names. Okay? This interview, that name is already out there. Judge Hippler is saying that they do not have a right, like Ann Taylor and the defense and the prosecution have already argued this when they put in their reasonings not to hey, we need the sealing of this because, and they're citing the case law. So then what does Lana come in and do? Lana sits here and takes bomb ass notes, sees how Ann Taylor's arguing stuff, sees how the state's arguing stuff, understands the argument, is learning, right? I'm not a lawyer, but fuck if I can remember something, fuck if I can learn something, but arguing and asking questions and formulating and putting stuff together, I think I could be okay with this. Sure. So we're going to appeal this because this is absolutely crazy. They flagged because they needed to pay in special attention to lands requests. Well, also because I'm waiting for this was just for my request, you guys. This was just for one item that I put in on November 10th, and I said I want the law table for the police report, like I just explained here. And I'm like, dude, this is insane. Okay, this is insane that this is your response. Okay, because this is what I would call, hey, here, just deny it, and then once she appeals it, then it also buys us time to tell the families or to tell these people that, hey, if she appeals this is going to be getting unredacted. It's going to be it's not going to be redacted. Okay, so I believe that they personally bought time because they do not have a leg to stand on. Okay. And why I believe that they don't have a leg to stand on is because Judge Hippler already ruled on it. How they can seriously, with a straight face, send this out, and this is why I have no problem suing them. Because this is what you decided to do. Like interviews. We're over here requesting things so that we can obtain the audio or the video or both, okay? And how are you supposed to ask for something? They knew exactly why I wanted this unredacted. I can't help it that I'm smart and I would know how to attack this. Hey, I need all of this unredacted. Because how am I supposed to know and to say to them who I'm looking for? And when I hear them say, we have to find and locate something, do you know how long it took them to find and locate and to give to me, which I still do not have, a couple pieces of paper of the fucking dog paperwork for the impound shit? Do you know that people that are residents of Idaho have still not been returned to, gotten back with, provided stuff with that was requested? If I was to sue the Moscow Police Department, which is in the process, who can join in on that? Look that up. But where is the media coalition? This is absolutely insanity. That these would not be redacted for that reason. Absolutely craziness. Why is there no filings? It is December 4th. Okay, December 4th, the last time that Hippler, 1113, which was the order of restitution, but what I want to talk about is the order to seal, unseal, redact, whatever, for the third batch, okay, which was the third order seeking parties' position regarding, well, he asked for this on October 9th. So all of October, all of November, that's 2 months. Okay, it's December 4th. Hold on. This one right here, third order seeking parties' position regarding sealed documents, 10/9/2025. So you can see state's response to defendant's objection to request for restitution. See all this right here? State's response to court's third order regarding sealed documents. So we're going to look at that for one quick second here. Now remember, Brian Kohlberger's team, they filed, okay, this, their response under seal. So this is where it starts with 88 and see. Okay. Defendant's objections to the state's jury questionnaire proposals. The state has no objection to sentencing. Exhibits to defendant's third supplemental response to discovery for expert witness penalty phase. The state objects to the unsealing of Exhibit D7E. Again, these are the exhibits. As this item is protected pursuant to, they give this, contains highly intimate facts or statements, the publication of which would have, this I believe is Brian Kohlberger's shit with his, being tested. Okay. As it says, regarding records of psychiatric care or treatment and professional counseling records relating to an individual's condition, diagnosis, care, or treatment, like whoever this is, right? So the state has no objection to the unsealing of the index. The index. Okay, that's something coming up that I want, right? Because these are, it's laying out all the exhibits. So I was looking through, let's see. Okay. Exhibit C to defendant's third supplemental response for request for discovery. 92, defendant's exhibit 1A in support of affidavit and objection to state's motion limiting text messages and testimony. Some of the stuff is out. Defendant's proposed jury questionnaire. This is something that we've never gone over, is the jury questionnaire. Okay. It's because we have the jury instructions, right? But I was like, I want to see what the jury questionnaire is, right? And it's defendant's proposed jury questionnaire. The state has no objection to the unsealing of this item. Defendants reply to state's objection to motion limiting number 5. Now we start getting into, here we go, lab reports. Lab reports. So the recent big drop was all of the lab reports that came out from the Idaho State Police Lab. Okay. And that was on 10th. That was basically on Halloween. And so this is what all these people's names were. So State's Exhibit S23B. So remember the index that we've been looking at? The index of all the items for all the exhibits. So when we get to this section here, this person is that name is an Idaho State Police lab rat, somebody that works in the lab. The state requests redactions to lab report 15 to redact the names of unrelated third-party witnesses pursuant to the vast majority of the named unrelated third-party witnesses voluntarily provided this is the DNA, latent print so that they could be excluded as suspects in the case. The unsealing of this record would contravene privacy concerns. So remember how what we have is right now, the Idaho State Police, when they put that together, the lab, they put everything out and just like redacted. And it's like, we're putting it all out, depending on how the judge will then rule on certain things, is that you can then come back and try to get us to unredact that if he says, yeah, no, it is what it is. So I was paying attention to the lab reports where this is lab report 15. This is lab report 3. the names of unrelated third-party witnesses. Well, guess what? This is why I'm saying the witness list has already been out there. Once you release these witnesses and their names, like redacting that, and if it is for what you say it's for, then it doesn't matter. Okay, Miller. The state requests redactions to lab report 7, 13, 26, 31, and 34 to redact the names of unrelated. They're saying unrelated third-party witnesses. That's absolute bullshit. They are not unrelated. Okay? They are very much so related. Why are you asking for people's DNA if they're unrelated? And why are you then taking it to the lab? Do you know how many DNA's samples were obtained in this case that never went to the lab? Again, I'm waiting for the judge. Where's the he hasn't responded to this. The vast majority of the named unrelated third-party witnesses voluntarily provided their DNA. Voluntarily. Yeah, after you asked them, but then you didn't ask Molly McMichael. It was so they voluntarily provided their. That's not true. If you volunteer information to say that you asked them for it, I think this is that word right there is bullshit. Sorry, but the latent prints, so they could be excluded as suspects in the case. That's like nobody walked in there except for I think for maybe one person was like, hey, I want to give my DNA. Can you just take it so that you can just like exclude me? Why did that person ever even come in there thinking that you guys had DNA and that DNA was found at the crime scene? How about that? That's what I would be thinking. Like, why do you think that DNA would exclude you? So you think, who told you that we have DNA? You get what I'm saying? Like, fuck out of here. No. The unsealing of this record would contravene privacy concerns for these individuals and likely subject them to reputational harm as being identified as possible suspects in a quadruple homicide. No, that's not true. Next to, you had the option to write down the word suspect or to write down subject. And if you guys were dumbasses and were writing the word suspect next to people that you were sending to the lab and saying, here, run this, and you guys typed in your lab tabs with the names, and then you get to type that in and put the person like what they are. If you put suspect instead of subject, get fucked. Your sloppy work does not get to be protected. Okay? But listen to that. It's like, why would anybody be taking on reputational harm if next to it, it's your name in the lab report says subject? Dude, they're trying to weed out. If you're a friend of theirs and your DNA is in their house, it should be. Okay? It should be in their house. There's nothing wrong with your DNA being in the house. Spit on a cup, blah, blah, blah. But blood, your blood up on that wall or that banister, I think that that's absolutely suspicious, right? And you guys were trying to find the owner of the blood. I hope that's what the purpose was. So I just can't believe that they say the vast majority of the named unrelated third-party witnesses voluntarily provided their buccal swabs, latent prints, so that they could be excluded as suspects in this case. That's not true. You had to beg Jack D to give up his prints. Why would Bethany and Dylan give up why would you be asking them for their prints so late in the case? So that they could be excluded as suspects. No, actually, you needed that. Hey, it's going to make our case way stronger. We need you, Jack D. And you guys know I support Jack D, But they had to go to Jack D. Somebody did and said, listen, can you please give us your prints? Like Ann Taylor is writing in stuff. You guys don't know how late they went and got Jack D's prints? Why did they ever need Jack D's prints? Because of what Ann Taylor was motioning in and writing in and using for third party culpability for us not doing our jobs. I think it absolutely matters in this case when you did know, like 2025, like June, like May, I think May 2025. I think it absolutely matters when they did certain things in this case to show a timeline, to show a true investigation. If somebody like him, why didn't you try to lift his prints off of something? Why aren't you following him around and trying to lift his prints off of something if you truly thought he was a suspect? If he didn't, if he wouldn't give them to you, or if he lawyered up right away. It's like they didn't even, was it like pretend to go after Jack D? You give it up, like, the timeline matters. But the unsealing of this record would contravene privacy concerns for these individuals and likely subject them. You guys, there was going to be a trial. There was going to be a trial. We don't have plea deals. We don't have plea deals so that this stuff doesn't come out. Because that's what it looks like to me. Is that, hey, all of this stuff was going to come out in a trial, but guess what? Since the trial didn't happen, you guys don't get the information. And that is the argument. And that is how you tell them they're wrong and we don't give plea deals out so that this doesn't come out. The public has a right to know. I have a right to know if Ann Taylor ran up $1 million bill and pretended and gassed up the community, all while sitting back and they're making a shit ton of money off of this case. I think the parents have a right to know why a plea deal didn't happen, I don't know, within a couple months, and why this would be drug on all the way to when it was, and to just be like a rushed, like, fucking shit show. Transparency in our government. We have that right. And so you have to, it comes down to, is the public right trump this? And every day, twice on Sundays. Okay. Because if you're taking subjects' DNA, not suspects, these people shouldn't be suspects. Okay. It should get to that stage. So at one point when you're putting in, hey, get this, maybe the blood was one of the friends who's always over there, right? And so that it's here, this is a nothing burger. Okay. And they've been in and out of that house so many times. The unsealing of this record would contravene privacy concerns for these individuals and likely subject them to reputational harm. Well, Hippler's already made his decision, in my opinion, on this. And it's like, as being identified as possible suspects. And I'm telling you, the argument back is that they should not be identified as possible suspects. Next to their name, it should say subject. The state requests redactions to lab report 5, 10, 27, blah, 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 and 41 to redact the names of unrelated third-party witnesses. The vast majority of the name is the same thing, and I think it's bullshit. Hill's report. So the state's rebuttal, S8A rebuttal Hill. The state requests redactions to the personally identifiable information such as cell phone numbers. Boom. You want to know what this has to do with? So then I realized that Hill has to do with, these are his rebuttals. So Hill was going to rebut some stuff. And I think that he was going to rebut the geofence. Okay. does Lana, does taking a plea deal take your constitutional rights away? For as far as what? That's broad. It's a broad question. I mean, Brian Kober has the right to appeal, if that's what you mean. What do you mean? His constitutional rights, like what? So here, this is, I believe this has to do with the geofence. But anyways, you can find this though in the discovery between, and all it is just 2 pages. That's the other reason why I believe it's from that night. Gilbertson, S7B rebuttal. Gilbertson, the state has no objection to this unsealing of. I cannot wait to see what that was going to be. Again, this is a lab. Remember Hill? Hill is going to talk about the path of travel for the car. Immel is the FBI agent that is going to be doing the identification, but Hill is the report that had, which we've seen, traveling all the headlights. Okay, lab report 4. So what they came out and did, remember, is they redacted all these names. And they redacted these names before, like, Hippler hasn't even ruled on this. And on 1029 or 1031 rather, Idaho State Police gets in front of it, releases this before Hippler makes a ruling. Do you guys know why? Because now you have to put the request in if you want it unredacted, if Hippler in fact says whatever the fuck he's about to say. They made it a process. Idaho State Police needed to get all of those pages out, and they did so on 1031 to get in front of Hippler's order, whatever it may be. These people know what they're doing. They have experience. They can all act like idiots when they respond to us and say we've never dealt with anything to this magnitude. If you believe that from the Idaho State Police, you're a fool, okay? Because the Idaho State Police covers all the crime in Idaho, right? They show up everywhere. They have 6 districts, all right? Speaking of Idaho and Idaho State Police, I believe here on December 5th, tomorrow, I believe Misha's being heard on all that stuff that she filed where she was just outing the systematic corruption with everybody in human trafficking and people diddling underage kids and, grooming. I mean, it's insane, but Lana, we all heard all are innocent till proven guilty, but taking a plea deal, everyone believes BK. And I don't know when you say everyone believes, I think that's, I don't like the alls or not, there's some people that believe that, that Brian Kober everyone believes BK admitted guilt without confessing to it. Everybody would be speculating to Brian Kober's intent. Brian Kober is the only person who knows the intent behind his plea deal. I can tell you that Brian Kober raised his hand, right, under oath. Okay. So eventually, if he ever wants to take all that back, right, he's going to have to say that he lied under oath, right? But the more and more research I've been doing because of the Bobo case, is if they can prove that the prosecution was leading any of this shit, like in the Bobo case, what they are showing, and getting witnesses to, like, here, this is what you're going to say. I'm going to give you the story. This is how you're going to do it. We're going to match it to this evidence after they look at stuff. That takes a lot of time to come out, right? So I've always said the only reason you would never, like, why you would potentially do what you did here is Brian Kober wouldn't be on death row. You have completely different access to things when you're not on death row. And if he is truly going to try to, and needs time to go about looking through all this stuff, and they would need time. Brian Kober was not handed the discovery the way that we were, aka meaning Ann Taylor. But it all just boils down to trust. We don't trust the government, right? When they do and say things. And that leads to why you would believe or why you would allow yourself to think that Brian Kober did what he did because of your lack of trust in the government. Okay. If you believe in the government and you believe in the prosecution of Brian Kober and you believe in any prosecution of any criminal defendant, you don't have thoughts like that, right? It's when you start losing trust in the process that those become, and you lose trust because of it being proven to you in other cases and potentially even in the case that you're covering or looking into that they did something that was so unethical. Okay, that's why the Innocence Project exists, because of, for a reason. So I think that that's where this comes from. When people want to say that there's conspiracy theorists, I've just never met a profession more in my life where I've yet to see any. Go find me a case where a police officer takes the stand and is admitting that they're wrong, or a prosecutor that they're wrong, that they made a mistake. You know how many times something's been overturned? The prosecutor's not like, yeah, wow, we got it wrong. No, they're still fighting to say, nope, that's the right person. If that's what the fuck, or when there's acquittal. Like, I've never met a profession where it's been so conditioned for people to think that these people can't make mistakes. It's unfucking believable. These people are human. A police officer is human. A prosecutor is human. But they never make mistakes. They're all, and then fuck mistakes. They're so honest, they don't lie. Now we're supposed to go out there and get those people with type of character that's supposed to be there, but it's just wild to me. Absolutely wild. And so when you blindly believe things, there's nothing wrong with questioning something, and there's nothing wrong with proving your work. We had to grow up that way. When you go to school, you don't say to the teacher, "Hey, I know this material. Give me an A," and they give you an A. Okay, great. And you're going to do great on your test. Here's your test. It just, it goes against everything. Yes, Harry Potter's bird. Oh my God, I'm so excited that I have to stop here. I saw this. Andrea Burkhart covered them. She's still there. I'm so glad that she's there because I trust her reporting. I was in the same courtroom with her in Delphi. I saw how I was covering. I saw what I saw how I covered it. Then I get to compare here. Andrea Burkhart, how are you? What are you talking about? Yep. Wow. Okay. Yep. That's exactly how we're watching the same motherfucking thing. And then I listened to Hidden True Crime. And I'm like, oh, that explains it. She was coloring, literally coloring during the trial, coloring pictures. So, okay, go on here with, so let's get to where, again, all of this is about, hey, just redact all these names from all these reports. Okay, Maori. Here we go. Exhibit S10. Big daddy for us right here. On 3/24/2025, the state's exhibit S10. Okay. This exhibit, the state requests redactions to the personally identifiable information, cell phone numbers, IME, and email addresses. Okay. I'm fine with that. You want to know what? The names better not go away though. But then I was thinking if this is a geofence, there wouldn't be names. The dots better stay there though. But right here, the state requests redactions to the personally identifiable information, cell phone numbers, IMEI, and email addresses provided on Bates. So all of this, these all got put into the record. And all I have to say is you guys, in the Chris Watts case, Nicole Kessinger's phone records, they were put out to the public. Nicole Kessinger, who turned state's evidence, cooperated with authorities, had interviews with authorities, telling them all this stuff, and everybody's over here like, yeah, she was involved, right? And then those people are like, no, leave her alone. Who the fuck cares? I'm talking about the discovery and how did everybody get that? Those numbers weren't redacted, right? And this is Nicole Kessinger. I think what Nicole Kessinger did that day, her whole phone records, all of her Verizon records for not just the day, it was a month that she had given, and it was provided to the police. And so it was part and it went to a report. And it was, I believe it was released with an FBI report at that. And that came out from the FBI, their reports, you guys. The FBI, when Chris Watts took his plea deal, okay, and pled, and it was the night before Thanksgiving, or the day, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and Colorado did this dump, just like you kind of see with this. And there was actually 2 different dumps. And if you got to it right away, you were able to pull the extra 700 pages. Well, I got that. So I have, in the Chris Watts case, you couldn't fucking imagine all the shit I have in that case. Oh, and by the way, people out there saying that I think that Chris Watts is innocent, you completely could not be more fucking wrong. You are wrong. Chris Watts is guilty as fuck. Okay. Number 1. But number 2, I most certainly had the backs of his parents and his sister, because they didn't kill nobody and they were fucking victims too. And I'm sorry, they have just as much rights to anything that would be with their grandchildren as Shanann's family. Okay. And the district attorney treated them like shit. Okay. And they should actually be praising the Watts, the dad, because I don't know how many dads would be like, yeah, let's go to the fucking police department right when you pick me up from the airport. What dad's not going to say, no, we're going to see a lawyer. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. You and me need to talk. We're not going to the police department. I have no idea what's going on, but you and me need to talk, and we're going to go do this at a lawyer's office. So anybody out there that wants to, where the kudos should be given is how innocent Mr. Watts is in all of it, and just drives with his son to the police department. Tells his son it's okay to take a lie detector test and answer all these questions without a lawyer. Yeah. Attacking that man. People think that he's sinister. So I'm like, dude, he fucking... I can tell you what, if that was ever my son, I wouldn't have went to the police department. I wouldn't have taken my son there. We would have went and saw a lawyer. Just because, that's what I believe in. I'm not trying to, you want to hide or you want to do something. No, I'm just going to do things the right way. And I would never tell anybody to take a lie detector test. That's actually fucking nuts. Oh, and I believe in everybody deserves a defense. And if somebody wants to appeal something, and so I was able to get Chris Watts one of the best attorneys in Colorado. That's Jane Fisher now. She's representing Barry Morphew. Okay, so that's when Chris Watts was still lying to his parents about being innocent. And I was like, dude, you're a fucking chode. Why are you the shit you put your family through? Let's see. Okay, the magic question. Like, we finally get to find out what this magic question's all about. State's response to defense motion to adopt voir dire procedure and objection to magic question. Like, what? No objection there. Oh, right here. The state objects to the unsealing of this. The state objects to the unsealing of this item pursuant to 32G1 and 7. Defendants exhibit in support of their objection to the state's motion limiting self-authentication records. It'll be interesting. Exhibit S1 to the state's response to defendant's seventh motion to compel. Seventh motion to compel. Defendant's seventh motion to compel. I personally think that there's going to be a big appeal in this case. I do. That's my take. Defendant's seventh motion to compel. 24 supplemental discovery requests in this case. And the state requests redactions to the personally identifiable information, which is cell phone numbers. So whatever they finally turned over had to do with cell records. This is how you put timelines together as well. 319, that's an exhibit that was used. I think they were. This is Ann Taylor had been requesting something. And then finally here in this seventh motion to compel, the state turned over an exhibit. And it had to do with cell records. As you can see, cell phone numbers. Potentially, if this could be potentially screenshots of Bethany and Dylan with Blaker. I'm trying to figure out like that time frame. But at the end of the day, it came from Ann Taylor requesting something. The state's response to defendant's motion limiting 14 says, okay, so consistent with item 94 above, the item would require redactions which reference testimony at the grand jury proceeding. God, it's the other thing that doesn't have, because there was no case, like in the Karen Reed case, all right? We got to hear what people testified and what questions were asked of them at the grand jury proceeding. Like that's when it gets to come out at a trial. When there is no trial, we never get to know how it truly went down at the grand jury, for how Brian Colbert was indicted. That's why I would love to see how Turtle Boy was indicted, what the questions were and how they were phrased, and what the exhibits were in terms of labeling his episodes. Did the jury physically see on the screen that his exhibit was labeled this, or did they at the end talk into, okay, we're going to go through these exhibits. Do you have any and I'm like, wait, nobody's objecting. So at the end of the proceeding, did they say, okay, hey, we're reading into the record these exhibits for the record? You have to label something to keep a clear record. Like, how were those names of the episodes truly presented to the jury? Okay. State's response to defendant's motion. And limit number 5. This has all thing to do with the likely ratio, how it was testified to. Okay, defense objection to state's motion limine 9-1. The item could require redactions with reference testimony at the grand jury proceeding. This information, nothing's going to happen from that. Okay, here we go. 317. Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 to defendant's objection to state's motion in limine regarding AT&T timing advance records. Okay. Now, this is why I think this is taking so fucking long. My title says, why hasn't Judge Hippler made an order in forever? Right? 121. 317, 2025. Exhibits 1, 2, 3. So I want to go to, I have the case up, the case of interest. So I'm going to go and scroll to 325. Okay. And what I'm looking at here is on 324. Holy shit. Okay. On 324, we have, was that the 317? 317, hold on. 317. Okay, 317, we have an order granting leave to exceed page limit. On 317, we have an order sealing defendant's exhibits in support of objections to state's motion in limine. We have an order sealing defendant's objection. We have an order sealing exhibit B to defendant's second supplemental response to discovery. Order sealing exhibits to state's amended supplemental response to discovery. Expert testimony. Oh my God, on 317, order sealing exhibits 1 through 4. Attached response to motion limine 7. I'm trying to get to the AT&T stuff. On 317, we have hella shit, okay? State's response to defendant's motion, but we need to get to these exhibits. All right, so here. On 317, defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine, for the AT&T timing advance records. Remember, all that came about with that was, hey, what's her tits? Ashley Jennings came in and was like, files this 1.5 pages and saying that we want a motion limine so that the defense can't even mention timing advance. But meanwhile, literally just a week or two prior, she was over there oral arguing that, well, that's going to be all fodder for cross-examination at trial with, who cares about the 7 or 8 minutes? That was her, her argument, like fucking trolling around like a ballerina, like an idiot. Then saying like nothing's to see here. No, like we didn't. Well, so what if it was that the phone didn't really turn off until through 252 instead of 247? 253 instead of 247. So, this on 317, the exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Defendant's objection to state's motion limine RE AT&T timing advance records. The state requests redactions to the personally identifiable information, i.e. cell phone numbers, listed on Bates page 3775, defendant's exhibit 3, and the search warrant. So when I go here on 317, I have the defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine, but where is, trying to see if they have snuck in any. I'm going to go and show you guys really quick, just to refresh your guys' memory, what the original objection was. And this is how Taylor laid this out, with obviously Cyree helping. Comes now Brian Koberger by and through his attorneys. Okay. Mr. Kober objects. Objection is grounded in his right under the constitutional 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment in the Ohio. Okay, so she names both. Really important when you're going to go take on this federally. Right there. That's really important. Arguing that is, under the Constitution, not just Idaho state. The state's motion seeks to prevent Mr. Kober from confronting through a full and fair cross-examination a portion of the case. The state seeks Mr. Kohlberger's silence on records produced by AT&T timing advance records. The state's motion informs the court timing advance records were not produced by AT&T Global Legal Demand Center until May of 2023. So understand this. That was Ashley Jennings' argument when she filed the motion to exclude the timing advance. She said Global Legal Demand did not have access to any of that stuff until June of 2023. Okay. And so by just saying that, that's the only part that Ann Taylor was attacking for the first go round. That's really important. That's really, really important. But this is what I believe the holdup is. I believe the holdup and why he has not made an order in forever has everything to do with this portion that Judge Hippler is going to have, unless he wants to go opposite of everything that he's been doing and trying to seal Ray's report, trying to seal these exhibits. This is the reason that I believe we're in a delay. Like, how hasn't he ruled yet? Well, because the timing advances in this order. Mr. Kohlberger agrees with the claim, however, that is only partial information. Okay, so Mr. Kohlberger agrees with that claim that Global Legal Demand Center until May, but however, that is only partial information. The state is misleading the court in its motion by what it leaves out. What the state is not saying is that the timing advance records existed at AT&T in November and December of 2022. The state has to know this to be true because in April of 2024, the state produced the actual records from AT&T for cell towers and individual timing advance records for 2 of the 4 deceased. That was the first time that they saw these actual records from April of 2024. And you want to know why they had to turn that over? Okay, because that's when they had Mowry on the stand in May. And then, this is just crazy. And for one person who had been a person of interest at the beginning of the investigation, and now who I lean upon to think that this could potentially be Jack D, but as well as over 3,800 people on the cell tower. These records were from November of 2022 and were produced in discovery to Mr. Kohlberger in 2024. It is accurate that AT&T Global Legal Demand Center, GLDC, did not produce timing advance reports to law enforcement in 2022. The timing advance reports from AT&T Global Legal Demand Center were not available to state and local law enforcement until June of 2023. However, the existence of these reports in this case, right here, however, the existence of these reports in this case is direct evidence that these records could be and were provided to law enforcement by AT&T prior to production through GLDC. As such, Mr. Kohlberger's AT&T timing advance report from 2022 would not have been provided through AT&T GLDC. AT&T had timing advance reports prior to their availability through GLDC. The state attempting to say the reports were not available until GLDC produced them is nothing more than asking the court for permission to hide the state's failure to disclose Mr. Kohlberger's AT&T timing report. Ashley Jennings was asking the courts to buy into the fact that we couldn't even possibly have this because GLDC did not have the ability to get them until 2023. And obviously this case was in 2022. And then when he was arrested in early 2023. And the lie is that according to the defense, it's you're lying to Judge Hippler to say how you actually obtained them. The FBI is how you obtain things. Also, then I went ahead and did some digging and realized that the Shanna Gardner case is literally the guy from ATF, Mark, whatever his name is. I found his report in the Shanna Gardner case because I'm covering that case. Speaking of which, Shanna Gardner just hired another attorney and she's out of Columbus. I already told you guys about this. She's a fucking beast. She's a beast. She worked with Jose Baez on a case in 2022. Anyways, in Columbus. So in the Shanna Gardner case, his ATF stuff that he did blows up this case to show that, yeah, this is exactly how you would go and do this. And yeah, 7 days. Well, ask Shanna Gardner about those 7 fucking days. Because, and ask Shanna Gardner or the guy that worked on that case, ask him what he did in order to, there's a key word here, preservation. A preservation. You preserve the data in the areas. And an Officer Blaker going immediately to Pullman, you would have preserved the Pullman area. Like the feds would have, like, that's when Cy says that you are working. It would be not customary for the FBI to come in and not preserve that data. That's what would be, this would all be being done outside of the normal practices. And so the most important thing is to go and preserve all of this stuff, especially once you know that you're on a like, this isn't like fucking A, we need, you know, or the only reason that you wouldn't preserve it is to destroy it. You understand? By not preserving it, it's also a way to destroy it. AT&T and timing advance reports prior to their availability through GLDC, the state attempting to say the reports were not available until GLDC produced them is nothing more than asking the court for permission to hide the. Depending on how far back the report goes, it will contain exculpatory evidence. And the exculpatory evidence is where the handoffs put Brian Kober's vehicle, making it that they knew that then, and it could not have been the car that they used in the probable cause affidavit that they said that they saw at 246 Nevada Street and all that bullshit. They knew that that was not true. They knew it then because the handoffs make it impossible for that to be his car. Okay. And this is the only thing that should bother people in terms of like, well, come on, he's got to be still guilty, Lana. Like, I'm like, if you have no problem with railroading somebody and you just want to say, well, yeah, they had to figure out a way to get to him because of X, Y, and Z and blah, blah. I'm like, think about that. If the evidence is pointing to something else, maybe Brian Kober did something else to get there. But instead of trying to work through the problem and figure out truly what the fuck happened and how Mr. Kober would have gotten over there if it wasn't in that white Elantra, right? They just decided, well, we're going to fudge the evidence. And I got a problem with that because then that makes me less able to believe in that he's the killer. It also, though, adds to what I'm trying to say here is that I don't think he went there in that vehicle because that vehicle, I think, would have had evidence in it when it would have been tested. Again, that doesn't make it that he's not the guy. It just makes it like I've been saying, like you cannot make shit up because guess what? It was his DNA on that knife sheath. So now we have to fucking fake all this shit, make this all up. And I think that people should have to answer that. Nick Balance should have to fucking tell. The plea deal gets people like this out of fucking getting in trouble. God. And then I asked myself something like, well, Jesus, if Brian Culver truly did it, why is he trying to take down everybody else with him? You know? He admitted it. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. That's what railroading is all about. Is that when you get railroaded, okay, it's like anything in life. If you're going to get a plea deal, right? Hey, do you want to take a plea deal for disorderly conduct, or do you want to go and take this all the way to trial? But here, we can give you a plea deal. This is what could happen instead. And it's like when the evidence, like Karen Reed, they wanted Karen Reed to take a plea deal so goddamn bad. And dude, she had her taillight, not just anybody's, her taillight in the yard right where the fucking man laid from her vehicle. And she had to convince a jury that the fucking government planted it. The government planted it. That's what happened. So it happens. And I would think that if I would have a problem with the people that are working on a case, and they should be over here wondering, like, all right, who the fuck else could he have possibly done this with? Or how could this possibly have worked? What's another, like, let's follow the evidence. Or let's not be lazy and cut corners. And I mean, these are the people that are working cases that, like, they're going to work another case. And this is how they're going to do things? Come on, man. Everybody should have a problem with that. Depending on how far back the report goes, it will contain exculpatory evidence that will partially, according to Ann Taylor, corroborate Mr. Culver's alibi of where he was headed or going or at. You know, that's what she's saying. Mr. Culver will provide evidence, testimony, and argument in support of his claim that the state misrepresents the availability of the timing advance records. Background. Now, when you go back after you realize when you get more information, so I always try to go back and read old stuff and say, you know, because Ann Taylor obviously had way more shit than we ever did. Mr. Culver's timing advance records are different than any other records provided in his efforts. Any other are different than other records. Other records. And their response to this is because we got his records outside of when we did to go get his records, we did a request for his records outside of the days, you know, the 7 days. But that argument doesn't come yet. The records are location data that are accurate in determining the location of a cell phone. Timing advance is a term used in the cellular network industry relating to a measurement of time. It measures the time it takes for a radio frequency signal. So she talks about all of this. I remember all of that. Okay. AT&T was the last of the major providers in the United States to produce timing advance data for law enforcement. The first time advance reports AT&T provided to law enforcement were the result of a software program utilized by AT&T from a third party. This company offered a software solution known as, and using this software, AT&T was able to create and produce timing advance records for law enforcement. But due to the pricing of the software, it was at a great expense. As a result, only certain law enforcement agencies were provided access to these reports. The FBI has been the primary agency given access. The timing advance reports were not common, nor were they created in the normal AT&T ecosystem. Thus, timing advance reports were not accessible to the GLDC personnel within AT&T. The FBI utilized, and so that's why in the Shanna Gardner case, the ATF is federal. Okay, they have access. So, ding, ding, ding. The FBI utilized a different legal compliance unit within AT&T to access these timing advance records. That legal compliance unit is separate from GLDC. When these reports were first made available to the feds, it was draped in secrecy. As a result, there is little documentation to rely on when dealing with early AT&T timing advance reports made available to the FBI. Everybody should ask themselves why Cyray ever got involved in this case. Okay? And truly read this document. AT&T developed a new system outside of the system to produce these records at a fraction of the cost. This cost reduction allowed AT&T to provide these records to state and local law enforcement. As a result, GLDC was given access to timing advance reports in May of 2023 and began providing them to state and local law enforcement in June of 2023. The distinction is that the AT&T timing advance records were available to only select law enforcement, specifically the FBI and the ATF, well before this internal change. Remember, Nick Balance is the one that's writing Ashley Jennings and saying this is what you're going to put in it. So the question would be, ready for this? This is the question. If I'm the prosecutor, okay, and I write up Brian Koberger's search warrant, and I'm writing all the language the same as that we've always ever had, or if Payne does it or whoever, right? And then the returns come back, and I'm the prosecutor, and you give me these his phone records or whatever, or I should be thinking to myself, I'm gonna get the same type of records that I got in all these other people's phones that we were going for, right? So I get Brian Koberger's back. I should have been like, hey, why aren't Brian's Koberger's phone records like the same way as, Molly's or this person, that person? Like, that question to somebody like a prosecutor has no idea. This is all new to her, foreign to her, right? Hey, you know how they came and how they were given to me before? Why wouldn't did we do something wrong? Do we have to request it differently? That exchange would have been there to a reasonable prosecutor asking that question to Nick Balance, because you're without what you've been looking at for the past how many weeks. When you get his, you're without it. And so you would be asking, hey, where's the rest of his shit? Because it wasn't like anything changed in how they wrote up the warrant and the language that they use. And that's what Cyray was saying is, and what Ann Taylor then references here, is she's saying that Mr. Koberger is aware of the fact that AT&T Global Demand did not produce time reports in 2022. Global Legal Demand did not produce timing advance reports in 2022. Like, at all, period. Full stop. So then when Nick Balance is saying, write GLDC here, so there is no doubt any representative from AT&T Global Legal Demand will testify to this fact. This is being not represented to the courts. Mr. Koberger does not contest this claim. The state is also aware of this, as they did not obtain the current AT&T timing advance records in their possession through the AT&T Global Legal Demand Center. Because how could they, right? In 2022, GLDC did not produce timing advance reports for even the people that would have been within the 7 days. They had to utilize the FBI, who went through a different legal compliance unit with AT&T to obtain those records. And where is the paper trail for that? And I think how you would work that out and what you would try to show to the jury is that Ashley Jennings would be a goddamn witness in this case. There's no fucking doubt about it, because I know what I would be asking Ashley Jennings. When you receive Brian Koberger's, like, the return on his warrant, it didn't strike you as odd that you're missing what you've been getting from all these other phone numbers, from all these other phones? Weren't you trying to look up and ask questions like, okay, where's his timing advance records like the other people, so that we can pinpoint where he's at? The reason that interaction, in my opinion, does not exist is because she was given those records. Therefore, you would not be asking, hey, yo, Nick Balance, why are these different from everything else that we've gotten? Like, that's a reasonable question, and somebody that would not ask that is a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, at the onset of this investigation, detectives with the Moscow Police Department began obtaining call detail records as part of the investigation. In doing so, they heavily relied on assistance from Special Agent Nick Balance with the FBI cast. This is the first documented in emails exchanged on November 15th, 2022, the first day that I believe the FBI, well, technically they came in on, like they were there, somebody from the FBI was there on the 13th, just showed up. Then fucking Payne or Fry, according to James Patterson's interview, asks this person, hey, yeah, I saw you, yeah, we'll have you come in. And that would have been on the 14th. Then so the documented first ever is in an email. This is first documented emails exchanged on November 15th. And that is how Detective Lawrence Mowry and Brett Payne were tasked with writing search warrants to AT&T for a number of different requests. On November 15, 2022, Detective Mowry requested verbiage via email from Special Agent Balance in reference to AT&T records. An email string that was produced by the state in discovery contains a very clear account of Special Agent Balance's knowledge of AT&T time in advance being available, which means he knows how it can only be available. Special Agent Balance's email to Detective Mowry states, subject, AT&T tower dump. See that RE is responding to that. PDF. That means there's a PDF. Nelos became a location database of record. That's what that is. We have this in another case in Idaho. A little while back. List that and timing advance since both are applicable with them now. So he's subject. AT&T tower dump. Put this in there. And then he signs it Nick Balance. So Nelos became location database of record. That's what that is. DBOR is what that is. Location database of record is, it's broken down like this. When you see that. A little while back. List that in the search warrant and timing advanced, since both are applicable with them now. Nick Balance. In reviewing this email, there is no doubt the email is in reference to AT&T, as it is referenced in the subject line. Additionally, there is an attachment with the email chain that contains the words warrant ATT. Detective Mowry then forwarded Special Agent Balance's email to Prosecutor Ashley Jennings. Right here, witness. And this is objection to state's motion limiting AT&T. That's what's AT Records Exhibit 1 email chain. So that's one of the exhibits, okay? One of these exhibits. Remember when I was just, the whole purpose of this is to talk about Exhibit 1, 2, and 3? Detective Mowry was informing Prosecutor Jennings of the availability of the AT&T timing advance reports and requesting it be added to the warrant. In reviewing the AT&T search warrants that were produced over the next few days after this email chain, all of them contain specific verbiage requesting AT&T time advance reports, just as Special Agent Nick Balance requested. While the above referenced email chain is clear as to the existence, availability, and knowledge of availability to the state regarding AT&T timing reports in November of 2022, that means it cannot possibly be through GLDC. In July of 2024, Mr. Kohlberger, in discovery, received from the state AT&T timing advance reports from 2022 in reference to this investigation. These timing advance reports were not for his phone. The state turned over 3 separate AT&T timing advance reports. All 3 reports contain AT&T timing advance data from November of 2022. And remember, the state comes back and argues and says, yeah, it was because it was within 7 days. That's not the argument. The argument is GLDC doesn't do it in 2022. What don't you fucking get? 7 days or not, take that and shove it up your fucking ass. In the early phases of this investigation, law enforcement identified 3 AT&T phones of interest, 2 belonging to the deceased and the 3rd belonging to a person of interest whom law enforcement was investigating as a suspect. Detective Mowry authored an affidavit in support of a search warrant to AT&T issued on November 16, 2022. This is the tower dump, I believe, that demanded that AT&T timing advance records for these phones. Okay, so on November 16th, it was for those phones. And I believe this is Jack D, but I could be wrong. It could also be Jack Showalter. All 3 timing advance reports were produced by AT&T, or it could be Cole, and are currently in the state's possession. All 3 timing advance reports were produced by AT&T and are currently in the state's possession. The timing advance report the state disclosed on other phones is what Mr. Colbert has sought relating to his own phone record. He requested the report through discovery and during a motion to compel. This is when what's his name got all red. Bill Thompson, we cannot give you things that do not exist. Mr. Colbert is aware and will provide testimony in support that the AT&T timing reports currently in the state's possession were not provided to the state by AT&T Global Legal Demand Center. The reports were produced through another compliance unit within AT&T through the FBI's close relationship with AT&T. How does that not pique one's interest? Mr. Kohlberger. So basically, the argument here is that those 3, you got the 2 deceased and you have 1 person that's a suspect. There's somebody out there that's going to testify that those 3 timing advance reports that were produced did not come from GLDC. As stated in Ashley Jennings' original filing, which was for the motion in limine to say, hey, we need to put an end to this. The reason that there are no timing advance records for Brian Kohlberger is because it was not until 2023 that the state could even get their hands on Global Legal Demand Center for them to provide us with anything. Obviously, Mr. Kohlberger's phone, all that stuff was in 2023. We couldn't get anything until this date. Like, duh, right? The reports were produced through another compliance. Mr. Culver reports that relying on GLDC stating that they did not provide time reports in 2022 misses the issue at hand, because that was one of the exhibits, was Mr. Stephen, whatever the fuck his name, Gordon, saying that Global Legal Demand Center did not produce Brian Kohlberger's timing advance reports in 2022. Because it's a fact, but it's misleading. Because, yeah, they're going to say that, but that's not how they obtained any of the records. Right? Is that right? Throughout the discovery process, the state has provided different explanations about timing advance reports, and they did it here. Throughout the discovery process, the state has provided different explanations about timing advance report availability, but always claiming it was not in their possession. So we always had different, oh, well, we don't have that. Well, it's not in our, see, in their possession and in control, that's like a big, this needs to change. This is something that needs to change with everything in the United States. Hiding behind the whole thing to saying, well, it's not in our possession or control. Like, we don't have it. We cannot produce something that does not exist and that we do not have. No, motherfucker, you are going to get on the phone with me on a call, and I'm going to be on this phone, and you're going to call the FBI if that's who you outsource stuff to, and you're going to get the material, and I'm going to watch you. Why can't that happen? Why can't discovery be as clear cut as that? I really want to know that. I want to know how, hey, let's call up the FBI. Tell them that we're on a 3-way call here and explain. Why can't they explain where these timing advance reports are? Man, that could never happen. Why? If we're all in the interest of fucking the truth. Why? You want us to talk to what? That is our witness. What? We're looking for material that exists with all these other things, and then this person doesn't have it. And you're claiming, what you're claiming here is that you got it through GLDC. That's what the prosecution is claiming. And I'm just so sick and tired of someone saying, well, I don't know, I've never worked with this before. So yeah, I just put it in like this. I didn't. So the state obtained search warrants in December of 2022, where the state sought AT&T timing advance reports for Mr. Koberger from November of 2022. The question should be is, why would you ever ask for that if you knew that you couldn't get it? Okay. Why would Nick Balance tell you to put that in the search warrant if you can't get it? If it was after the 7 days. No, he knew that you could get it because they preserved the fucking data. That's the big word that's missing here. Preservation order. Where was the preservation order? You're going to sit here and tell me that you think the FBI didn't do a preservation order? They did. 1,000%. And if they didn't, then by proxy, in my opinion, I'm going to spin it that you did it on purpose to fucking destroy the records. You didn't put a preservation order in, and that should tell you how early on that they knew that they had a problem. And that's how you would be explaining it to the jury. And that would grab your attention, as it should. It should grab anybody's attention that, wait. Yeah, you're right. Like, why? It's just a preservation order. The FBI does this themselves. They preserve stuff all the time. This was a fucking manhunt. Do you understand that? You think that the person fled and that they took this road and it leads into Pullman immediately, and then you're asking for the Pullman people, the Pullman police / WSU to start preserving the campus recordings. But you're going to sit here and tell me that the FBI wasn't like, yeah, we need to preserve these areas here for all the, phone records and data. You would do that. That'd be one of the first things that you did. And I think that the jury should hear testimony as to that. But this should have actually happened in a motion in limine. And so I think about trials that are going to be coming up soon. So I think about Turtle Boy's case here. Turtle Boy's going to have a suppression hearing. Turtle Boy's going to have a motion in limine hearing. Turtle Boy can, you put motions in all the time, right? And then you have people testifying at those hearings. You can, right? Should in Massachusetts they have a Daubert hearing, all right? Whatever. But to think that Brian Kober was denied the opportunity to have somebody testifying on his behalf that's an expert at a motion limine hearing as it pertains to this specific motion in limine is absolutely 100% absurd as fuck. That was denied in April 9th of 2025. that he was denied that opportunity. Why would anybody deny you that opportunity? Why would any judge say, do you think that Judge would deny that? Absolutely not. Hippler's over here like, I don't need to hear from an expert. I already know. Fool. Fool. Fool to think that Brian Kober still cannot appeal his decision. Now that's really foolish. In the interest of justice, anything can be done. The search warrant for Mr. Kober's phone data contains identical verbiage as was used requesting timing advance reports in warrants issued for other AT&T phones in November of 2022. The same process of serving the warrant was also followed. Moscow Police Department obtained the warrant, provided it to the federal agent here, Nick Balance, who then provided it to AT&T. The exact same process, which resulted in timing advance reports being produced in November, was repeated in December. So then Exhibit 2 is the search warrant for AT&T, okay? Then the second AT&T warrant contained a document titled AT&T Mobility Carrier Request from instructing AT&T to provide timing advance records for the past 7 days is available. So then how about this? Where are the 7 days that would have taken them back, okay, from the 23rd, 7 days from that? Because they're basically saying without a preservation order, you can go back 7 days without a preservation order. That's the key word here. But if you preserve it, then it's preserved. But if you don't preserve something within the 7 days, so that's why it's like if you go to put a request in, it's going to back it all the way up just for 7 days. Okay? That's where the 7 days is getting totally fucking misinterpreted. And I just think that Ann Taylor absolutely, what is up? You want to come up here? Shake it, shake it. Ann Taylor absolutely, I think, fumbled this argument here. When Hippler was trying to, but I also think that Hippler was a fucking piece of shit to her. You know? I think she, as rightfully so, like, would you not be in shock to deal with like somebody that's like condescending, thinking like, dude, you're just the ref. I don't need your fucking attitude. I don't even need your opinion. I need your rulings. Okay? I need to make my record clear, and you're impeding that for the purpose of the appellate review that would ever come should we appeal all of this shit. You're impeding me from making clear record. It was just disgusting to watch. I mean, think about it. Hippler basically told Steve Gonsalves to shut the fuck up and that he'd be the result of X, Y, and Z and went off on him. It's like, have you lost your fucking mind, Hippler? And then you don't say shit to the prosecution? Why don't you ask yourself how you think Steve Gonsalves has all that information that you just want him to shut up about? You think he just pulled it out of his fucking ass? You think Ann Taylor was calling him up? I mean, this is so ridiculous. Yeah, Ann Taylor was just calling up Steve, leaking shit to Steve. No, Steve had all the shit that he had because before an arrest and after an arrest, shit was leaking from the prosecution. In fact, Steve said it. Steve said, "You have a leak in this office, Hippler." I mean, Thompson. And then Thompson had the balls to tell Olivia that nothing is leaking from, but I just still can't promise you that you won't see a picture of your sister. So come on into the office. You know? Oh, okay, sure, here. Hit that. Hit that. It's only for my boy. Paisan. When they go. Mr. Kohlberger. So this is objection to states timing advance records exhibit 3 is AT&T the mobile. That was the third one, which we have. Mr. Kohlberger has sought timing advance records related to his own phone and litigated the issue. Remember? During the course of litigation, the lead detective testified that he had seen Mr. Kohlberger's timing advance records. I mean, what in the actual fuck? Like, hello. So then Anne says, the lead investigator testified that he had seen Mr. Kohlberger's time advance records. Mr. Kohlberger has documents produced with search warrants that instruct AT&T to provide time advance data. Discovery documents contain emails about including that request in search warrants because it was available. Mr. Kohlberger provided those documents as exhibits. And this is what's great. What's up, brother?
What's up? How
How
doing?
are you? I'm great.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going over here, talking about why it's taking so long for Hippler to put an order in.
Yeah, good question.
And you bring yourself to this third request of the bunches, and this is the big Cyray, it involves Cyray shit.
Right.
And this is the biggest. I mean, this is why there was a plea deal.
Of course, yes, ma'am.
This is the reason for the plea deal.
I feel like he's really dragging his feet on this one.
Yeah, and actually, I got a response from Moscow yesterday about because I put a bunch of exhibits in to be able to get the table of all the exhibits, and it's called like the law table, unredacted. And so they came back and they said that it's a privacy thing. And I said, well, now I get to have my first appeal because I'm appealing this based on Judge Hippler's orders. Like the witnesses' names were not redacted. He said, actually, you're unredacting them because there is no harm of physical threat or nothing like that. And it doesn't outweigh the interest of the public. And so how are you going to say that the index basically for the item numbers and in that table of the last names or however you labeled items, how does anybody have an interest in privacy that they were interviewed?
Right.
There's not even like the substance of it. Like, how can you literally make that argument after Hippler already ordered that the witness list is not even like the only thing that's off limits is date of birth and addresses. So when Moscow came back with this shit, I was like, all right, guys, here's our first, we're putting in this filing to appeal and we'll get our first, I mean, I have to put this appeal in and then there's a ruling like that, then I can proceed to move forward to sue them. You have to have you can't just go right off the rip and just sue them. You have to go through the channel. It's like anything. You have to go your route. Just like Maddie did and her mom. They put that injunction in. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to follow the track. You can't just jump on top of it, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. So I had to wait until I was denied due to. And so this was the perfect one because I was like, I know for a fact you need to be unredacting this based off of Hippler's order. And so I attached his order and I highlighted, this is the section that I'm relying on here because it doesn't outweigh the public interest outweighs, according to Hippler, the names in the evidence numbers in what you labeled them. Who's the interest? What?
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely absurd.
Are you going to throw in any of the fact that they're trying to charge for all this stuff? I had Booking with B join me last night, and I've seen you talk about cost on things. Jules has talked about cost. This girl said last night, B, she said that they were trying she FOIA'd like all the records and stuff. They tried to charge her $20,000. I can't understand this pricing to me. I know why they're doing it. In my opinion, it's to keep us from trying to get it, thinking that if it's too high, we don't want it. That's just my opinion, of course. But I know they say, well, they have to do this, they have to do that, but the cost on this is obscene to me. It's just ridiculous.
I'll tell you the other thing I think is because I try to look for like the loopholes or the argument. Like, how do you, like
Yeah,
this is like, and I think the biggest argument here is that they truly believe that because of a plea deal that we don't get this basically.
right.
Okay. This stuff was entered into the record. Okay. This stuff was all put into temporary sealing. Okay.
Absolutely.
There was nothing that was permanently sealed or anything like that. And after a certain amount of days, those temporary sealings, if you don't renew them and stuff, they could fall through the cracks. And that's how sometimes stuff gets released that, oh shit, I forgot this was coming up. And
Yeah, right,
so you
right.
pay attention to the, the address, the dates and stuff like that. And you go and look and then you put something in. But these people literally believe that they can hide behind a plea deal and that nothing's going to come out because of this plea deal, or that they think that they can hide behind charging an astronomical amount of money to, hey, if you want to obtain this, you have to pay X, Y, and Z, right? But there are ways around it. For example, if you
Absolutely.
can't afford to, in this country, if you can't afford to pay that, there's ways to show that you can't afford that. Okay. And you cannot, because I can't afford to pay that, withhold that from me.
Right. I
Okay.
mean, we have the right to that information. So because of the fact that, yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
So,
And
so how you would be able to show that is, um, okay, well, what determines if I can or can't afford it? You get what I'm trying to say? So think
yeah,
about this.
yeah,
How, just because you make money and you have a good living, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford
exactly.
to spend $2,000 a month, okay, or $500 a month, or fucking 50 or whatever. So to one person, what you say could, well, so how do you put a price tag, or how does somebody rule on the fact that you can afford this, or you are actually, because you have to make a strong argument with the fact that why you should get this and it not cost you any money, why you should get it even if you don't have to pay any money, why you should even get it, period. If they're trying to say that it's privacy, or they're
Right,
trying,
right.
whatever their argument is, right? And again, I just go back to this. Listen, there was supposed to be a trial, right? And all of this stuff was put through the public docket,
Mm,
okay? And because there was going to be this trial. What cannot happen in the United States of America is that the government cannot offer plea deals, okay, to hide criminal investigations.
exactly.
That's what this is.
That is what this is. That is absolutely what this is. Yes, ma'am.
And that's 1000% what this is, because it's not like the material isn't there. You're not going to sit here and tell us that you can't find the material, or, hey, it's taking me time to locate this, or, where is this? Hey, I asked for one thing. Where is my request, or where's my results? I already paid for it. Where's all the paperwork? And there's not that much about the dog.
Right, right.
Like,
At all.
what the fuck are you doing? I'm not asking for you to read or watch a long-term video and redact shit, which you shouldn't be doing anyways.
Nope.
Um, Again, if you want to take all these extra precautions because oh my God, what if we release something and it's like showing something?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What needs to be redacted on the 1112 cameras from noon or from midnight the day before and all the way until noon? What in the world would need to be redacted in the terms that any of us would have the right there would be a privacy interest.
The
This
only,
can't
in my
possibly
opinion,
impede an investigation. It's over.
right, that's it right there. It's done. He's in prison already. So the only, in my opinion, of course, only reason there's anything redacted is to hide something. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Truly, people
Well,
may
but
disagree.
but I'm talking about like the actual like, because here's my next argument. What is your level of expectation of privacy when you are walking on a road, public road, okay, and a
Yep.
camera catches you that is of a Ring camera,
Yep.
okay? Who you that person does not have an expectation of privacy when you drive your car
Nope.
on a motherfucking street, okay? Otherwise,
Yeah.
then we can start getting rid of all of these Ring cameras.
Exactly.
The Ring cameras will not be used if a Ring camera that you're going to blur and not be able to have me see it in part of this investigation is like that. Then how the fuck are you using it in actually a case to obtain a conviction in a murder
Exactly.
case?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. On point. That
If
that
we all have interests, privacy interests, because I could have potentially been walking on that street, or when a car comes down, up now that gets blurred, or a person was walking, so now I have to put a big black blob out there. What are you what?
well, it okay. You go to a bar or a club. Why you're in a bar that has cameras? You know that the cameras are there, CCTV cameras, whatever you want to call it. Why are you blurring people out that are in public to the world, drinking, partying, whatever the hell they're doing? And they know the cameras are there. You don't. There's not a sign on the door that says we have CCTV cameras. Come in at your own risk. It just that doesn't work that way. So it's stupid.
Well, and it was already turned over. Once the
Yeah.
police went and obtained that, it's evidence in a murder trial.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, so the best part about this is we get to hear some stupid arguments. I cannot wait for Moscow Police Department to literally go up against the arguments that I've been working on for a bunch of different things that we need to be able to say, like, because I don't think that it's cool or right that people, make videos and they can just make whatever they want up right now because they can kind of get away with it because guess what? It's their theory. Well,
That's right.
once I throw this down your throat and say, "Hey, boom, this is this," and they weren't hiding this and blah 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 for truth, for transparency and for the truth. Release the fucking material, and
And the other shit
and
should
then
stop.
it's going to stop that.
Yep. Bingo. I
Okay?
said that, dude. I said that a year ago. I said if you guys would give us the stuff that we need, that would well, let me rephrase it. We don't need it, okay? But the stuff that they should put out there, the truth,
Well,
nobody
no,
would make
if
all these
something's being
things up.
requested, if
Yes.
people are going about it and they're asking for it, okay, we're being citizens here and we have a right to know. There's a right to know.
Absolutely.
So, and if you're going about it and you're taking the time to articulate and write something up and with, hey, good faith, I don't even have to tell you why I want something. That's the other part about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I do not have to tell you why I want this. And so we're gonna it's going to get, do I think it's gonna get ugly? No, I don't, because I think they're gonna lose and they're gonna lose big. Okay. And guess
I
what in Idaho,
absolutely
guess
agree.
what happens? Guess what also happens in Idaho? Is not you're gonna pay for every single dollar that I spend because I can go after the everything that it took me to be able to obtain this.
100%. 100%. Yes, ma'am. I fully agree with that's yeah. They definitely need to.
Okay,
You
like,
should be fully reimbursed for everything you put into this. 100%.
yeah, we shouldn't have to do crowdsource funding to be able to have transparency out of Idaho.
Amen.
In a murder case that they chose to do a plea deal with the devil. Why am I suffering, and you and all the people that want to see the transparency here? You guys didn't want a trial. You wanted to offer him a plea deal. Great. That
That's your
doesn't mean that
problem.
you get out of that you get out of FOIA requests.
100%. Yes. And every
And
just
it's
about every
unfortunate that you promised the families that, some of them that,
yeah.
hey, that a plea deal would end and got to be put through this, then none of this stuff is going to come out. I'm telling you, those words were said. Those words were said, and then they were said oppositely to the Gonzaleses. You know,
Yes, and many of us have been denied FOIA requests on certain things for whatever reason. I want that explained. Why? Why are we denied public knowledge? Things that should be public knowledge. Why has that been denied to many of us? Is it because we're YouTube creators or independent journalists, whatever you want to call it?
No,
Is
I
that
have proof. I make sure I backed myself up on this. I have proof that a Idaho uh, citizen and a resident that lives there in Latah, that they think that they don't have to answer to their own citizens, to their own county citizens.
really? So they're denying them as well. See, that's the thing. And
Well,
Bill,
no. They're not responding.
oh, just ignoring it. See, that's what happened to
Yeah,
me. Is I
and
was
so then
ignoring.
guess what you have to do? If somebody's ignoring you, well, then you have to. Now you want to. I'm going for an injunction.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
people are done. Like I'm done. And so but I needed them to deny me something so that I could be put into this process because I'm not gonna immediately be kicked because I didn't go through the chain. So I
uh-huh.
finally, boom, I got my, here it is. I got my denial, and I gave them a couple different exhibits with it to show that what I'm asking for is
Right,
well within the how the judge is ordering and unsealing documents.
right,
Okay.
right.
And like you're not gonna win this argument.
Good, good.
You
And I'm
you
glad that you're
release the witnesses' names. The moment that the witnesses' names were unredacted, the
hmm
moment that every single fucking report that is blacked out and blankety blank,
right.
and so that's my other big one. I said every single 1 through 314, those reports that are redacted with only an initial, that's in violation of Judge
Violation.
Hippler's order. And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I want those 314 reports unredacted in for where we can at least start with this, the names.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody needs birth dates, social security numbers, addresses. Nobody cares about that. It at the
That's all
very minimum.
sealed. And that
Yeah,
wasn't, yeah, that's not what was asked for.
exactly. We just and they're Lana, they're redacting shit like nouns and verbs in these documents. And
Yep. I said that. I said nobody has a privacy interest in the word the.
no,
Okay. Nobody has a privacy interest in the word, sex.
no,
Okay.
we don't care.
Um,
We need to know names and circumstances, situations. That's all that we're asking for, truly. And
we,
and
we
he even said out of his own mouth.
we want to know what people said to you because
Yes.
that's how I have to judge why you did you follow up with what they said they told you. I don't know if you if somebody told you that, hey, I was at so and so's house that night from X time, or I slept over there, right? And so
Mhm.
I want to see, okay, here, this person says that they slept at this person's house, right? So then I want to go find the report of when they asked this person if this person slept over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So in order for me to see the actual investigation that you guys say you conducted in every road led to Brian Koberger, there's only one way to show that.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. You redacting the nickname of an apartment complex, the Whites. Are you fucking kidding me? There's no address in there.
Nope.
Like
It's
that
insane.
is to think that these people would have been on the stand saying things like, "Hey, I don't want to dox myself on where I live, but um, I would in relation to the house."
That's what I said.
Like, are you kidding me? That's
Right.
how these people thought that this trial was going to go. No, this
No,
is absurd.
they were going to be on the stand testifying in this trial. So what's the difference between that and giving it to us in a document? It's other than the person's not there in your face doing it. That's the only difference. So it makes no sense. Not to mention the fact that he said many times, multiple times, in his order that anybody that has already been out to the public eye, whether it's through the hit pieces on Dateline and Nightline and all that stuff, or mainstream media, those people aren't to be redacted. They're already out there to the world. So why are you still redacting that, blurring that, taking their names out of things? Why are we still doing that? It doesn't make it's a complete violation to his own order that he's going against, in my opinion, of course.
Yeah, let me read what another one that I got here. Okay,
But
let's see.
it's so irritating too. So
So
irritating.
I have okay.
with the capital C, William.
Okay. Okay, here it is. This is what I needed. Ah, not that one. This one. I was just going through all of the Massachusetts, like, because I was really interested in the Massachusetts. This is what I do. I boots on the ground to
Right.
have your phone out, what you can do, what you can and can't do literally with your phone and recording, and how the wiretapping laws are in Massachusetts compared to like, when I was in Pennsylvania, I had to learn all that shit because I did have a district attorney and somebody that used to run the housing authority
Right.
in Pennsylvania. They literally conspired against me to try to find charges that they could get me on for me to stop reporting on the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case while I was in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Wow.
And they accidentally responded to my email by hitting reply all, these fucking idiots. And I got the email that they had when the district attorney is writing the fucking dude saying, fuck, she isn't in violation of the wiretapping law. Fuck, she's on the street. Da-da-da.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I got to go back and find that. I want to put that out there. But this is how sick these motherfuckers are.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I'm exposing this timeline in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. This is back in 2022 in whole because I had people left and right, trying to help, saying, "Hey, she's in Aliquippa. She's filming da 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 da."
See?
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm filming where?" And I'm on a public road. Okay, I'm filming. Yep, I'm filming my episode. I'm filming for an episode. I'm filming what I'm doing a reenactment. All these things, right? And so I'm like, fucking, what is the goddamn like laws, right? Because I was like, I looked them up before. I was like, what are they talking about?
Right.
They're trying to get me on wiretapping. And it was like, oh my God, they are so fucking desperate. They are so desperate. And then the guy responds and he's like, fuck, she's not in violation of it. Because there is no because the way that Pennsylvania works, there is no expectation of privacy. I literally would have to be on a public road trying to zoom in on my phone to try to look into your little bedroom. And because you would have an expectation of privacy, right? If you're in your house, in your bedroom, and you haven't, like, you should be able, like, that's privacy, right? Now, if I was trying to zoom in on my phone, all right, trying to, if I go around to your house, setting up, let's say, fucking, I don't know, Bluetooth speakers to like get some sound, put it like, I mean, you would have to do wild ass shit, okay? Yes. And no, I'm over here. This is me. Hey, I'm outside. Just like how a Nancy Grace would pop up a table and, no different, right? Hey, I'm outside at da-da-da. I'm walking around here. This is what this area looks like. It's so different when you look at it in Google Maps. I'm explaining that if you're not here, you wouldn't, but they were trying to get me every which way. And so much so that they tried to evict Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s mother from this apartment housing, government housing. And I argued, I argued for her, and helped her, and basically, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, did all this stuff, but it's because people on the internet were trying to get her evicted and say, yeah, Lana, see, you're getting, oh yeah, your client, he's not my client. Right. I'm advocating for an innocent black dude that was framed for murder by white punk cops who are part of a corruption ring there in the Pennsylvania State Police Department that covers that area with Aliquippa local police. And it's been going on for a long time, and it's systematic with families and what they're doing there, and who truly runs and who's truly running the police departments.
Right.
Because why do you need to frame Sheldon Jeter Jr. for a murder so bad? Because you want to solve the Rachel Del Tondo case? Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, so
I've got something I want to read to you real quick. It's from one of our community members. He comes into both our channels, but he's also a creator now. He goes by Senior Wazowski.
Okay.
Listen to this. This is what, and this is some. I got two of these myself, and I'm sure you've gotten some of this too. But, dear, I'm Senior Wazowski. I'm gonna use that name, okay? The
Okay.
City of Moscow received your public records request on November 26th of 25. The request asked for physical transcripts of the initial witness interviews for the following: Hunter Johnson, Emily Alant, Jenna McClure, Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, and any interviews, statements regarding the address 1118 and 1112 King Road. Your request for information falls under the Idaho Public Records Act. Here we go. Pursuant to code 741032, the city shall enter, grant, or deny a person's request to examine copy public records. Please be advised that a search for the requested records was conducted and no such records were identified to exist in regard to the physical transcripts of the initial witness interviews for the following: Hunter Johnson, Emily Alant, Jenna McClure, Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk. Therefore, this portion of your request is being denied.
Okay, hold on. Let me answer that then. You know what that means?
Mm.
What that means is the way that it's, because they can be so specific with that, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying, you're referring to like a transcript is, are you saying that, because normally what the police will do if they plan on using somebody's interview at trial, okay,
Right.
they will transcribe, so they have to bring somebody in, pay, and they transcribe the interview, so somebody pays, that pays to get done,
Sure.
so that they can use that, at the trial. So
Right.
so what that would tell me is that the government wasn't planning on using any of those witness statements in that capacity. Okay. Just that's what I'm thinking right now. Go ahead.
And then he got another one. And mind you, Wazowski is a retired Baltimore City police officer too, so he knows.
Okay, so ask him about that. Ask him what I'm saying there as far as that goes, because I would think that that's.
He's in here. He's in here right now with us too. So yeah.
Oh, cool. So let him ponder that.
Yeah. So the next one was that he got the city of Moscow received your public records request on the 12th of November 25. Request asked for the video watched by Officer Morris, referenced in police report supplemental number 25 in the initial report that prompted the follow-up. Again, pursuant to 741032, the city shall either grant, deny, all that stuff. Please be advised that a search for the requested record was conducted and no such records were identified to exist. Therefore, your request is being denied. If such record exists, the University of Idaho would be the custodian. The University of Idaho would be the custodian.
Okay, so what that means is in report number 25, if memory serves, if memory serves, that is when it would have been a campus, the campus security photo. And I believe this is when a kid was walking around and he was putting on like he had all black, I think that that's what this is. And they're trying to say that they believe it's the university's, I believe this was put on a server. And so when they collected this evidence, you have to go and look at his name. It's when the dude, Tyson Barrett. He was the one that was responsible for going and getting all the campus cameras to be like, preserved. And I think it was just so large of all the cameras they have. And so it got put on a server. Okay. Then you want to look at the law table that this is what I was after, so that we could totally here. It's one of the evidence item numbers, and it's going to fall under. But if it was from a server, okay, because it's just so large.
Right.
That's why I believe it would have been in the forensic Moscow Police Department lab, because it's a server, or it was put on an external hard drive that it was so large, Well,
he said he contacted the university, the Office of Civil Rights and Investigations, and they said they gave all their cams to the FBI.
Yeah, well, the Moscow Police Department is the agency. So them saying that they're not, I think the other person that would be potentially the agency then, again, these all became exhibits. This all became discoverable. So at one point, everything that got over to Ann Taylor had to go through who? The police don't give it to her. The prosecutor does. So then it becomes in the hands of the Lake Hall prosecutor. Okay. So everything had to go through Bill Thompson's, office. also he had to make all of these exhibits
Yeah.
that he was going to use or be able to use as rebuttal, you know, to be able to have. So the Latah County prosecutor's office, in my opinion, has all of this shit.
I agree with
And
you. I agree. Like he said, and he's that's how I see it too. Is everyone's saying it's somebody else's job? We know how that works. You know how that works too. I mean,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
not gonna.
and they're
They're
gonna
gonna pass
eventually
the
have to
buck.
answer to it.
Yeah.
But
Bingo.
guess what? They don't have to until we make that move. And I said, you know what? I think it's time. I think it's time. It's winter now. Like nobody wants to fucking look at the snow. I
Right.
think it's time. And so, like, you want to play? Like, they think transparency that they don't owe it to the people of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Bingo.
okay. I think that if this case is owed anything, it's exactly that, transparency.
Well, yeah, they work for us, folks. They work for us. We don't work for them.
Well,
They're
it's
elected
it's deserved transparency because you want to restore um, the people believing in the government. Like that's the whole purpose of transparency. It's the whole purpose of like
Gotcha.
it's just like, wait,
Yeah, absolutely.
like what's the real reason that you want to deny this? Because you're hiding behind thinking that you can just write this
Yeah,
and
that's it. They're hiding
are you
behind it.
being lazy because you don't want to go find us? Like what do you mean you're getting paid? You're a salary employee. You're an hourly employee. You know, like what the fuck? And then on top of it, it's like this is what you're supposed like this is your job.
100%. That's it. That's why you're there.
This is
That's
your
why you're
job.
doing it.
I don't understand. So then you're like, let's find ways to use the statute to try to say that we don't have to give this to you. Okay. Well, Judge Hippler's his orders that have been coming out are saying differently than how you're finding in these requests.
100%.
And then let's talk about this money thing. And I just think my argument with the money thing comes down to, well, when you say that you can get it for free, at the end of the day, there's a way to get it for free. And it's the argument that nobody can afford that.
Of course.
I shouldn't have to go crowdsourcing for money to be able to afford that.
No, not
And then
even
if
close.
I can't do that, that I shouldn't be able to get it.
That's right.
Or and an argument back isn't they'll never be able to have this argument. Well, you can go and make money off of it afterwards, so you should be able to afford it. What?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, he just said too. On top of that, he asked for a week before the crime and then a week after the crime, all of Rosenthal's work product, and they quoted him $1,976.48. For real?
Well, I don't even know, like, all of his work products. So you want like any notes that would have existed?
Probably just anything that he did for a week before.
Reports that he wrote. I'd want to just know all of his IMing.
Yeah, bingo. I want to see his. I'd love to see his phone. That's just me. But I mean, I want to know what I think they need to explain every aspect of every dollar that they're asking for. Every single dollar.
It's
what did he say? Everything reports time. Everything he wanted. Reports, time cards, text on city phones, email, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good request. And how many? Wait, that makes you wonder though. Didn't he leave like within days?
Okay, so this is how I would do that. I would first ask for, you want his, just the first thing and the only thing you want to ask for is give me. I want Rosenthal's his schedule, his work schedule for this week and this week, just like his schedule. Okay. And the way I would kind of do it just to kill all my birds is I would just be asking for the Moscow Police Department police schedule, work schedule for this, this week and this week. Anybody, all of the police officers work time, their time cards. Boom. That's it. Ask for that. Then you're going to see what days he actually worked. Okay. So then I'm going to narrow it down to, okay, Rosie worked on, let's say, he did 4 10s. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Now you can eliminate those 3 days that he didn't work from the 1 week and then 3 days from the other week. Okay. And then, so say here, I narrowed it down. These are my days that he worked. And this is the time frame that he
Right.
only worked. Okay. So there should be no material that is outside of that. Right.
Absolutely.
And, and then by you writing, when I would be writing this up, how I'd be wording things is I'm doing all of the work. Okay. I'm doing all of the work to narrow to literally tailor my request here. Okay. This is not overly broad because then you're like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to pull? How do I go about pulling this to get everything, and then so once you get, let's say that you just said, I only want, so once we narrow down his work schedule and we have
Right.
these days, on those days, I am requesting, all emails from his account, his email account name, work email, outgoing and incoming. Okay. Period.
Right.
Send that, get that back. Then see what you get from that would lead you down like what you would think would be like, wow, that's where, or, whatever it is that you're looking for. Let's say that there were no emails,
Right.
that he didn't email anybody and he didn't receive any emails. That should be something that's super quick, right? Because they're able to do a search for just that. And that should have taken no time to get that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Then the next request. So you're creating this paper trail, right? You're creating this paper trail because what I'm going to be starting to expose is we're going to start getting into the whole, what if they're lying on
Bingo.
if something was truly available and you're just telling me that it's not, right? So you want proof then if I'm going to do however they did the search. So
Right. Right.
how did you perform the search? That's my FOIA request.
That's a
And
good.
now they
Yeah.
could potentially come back and say, we're giving away our way to do blah blah. And then I think that you would have an argument there to say how you navigate the system.
Right.
How you
Right.
navigate. I'm not asking for any like passwords. I'm asking how did you go about researching my request?
What steps did you take to do it? Right.
Um, especially when you're trying to charge me based on the time that was spent to do something.
Exactly.
I have that right to know why the fuck I believe that this job should take all of 15 minutes, but you just gave me, something back that says that this is going to take you, 4 hours.
And let me just remind me, Landon.
Like, do you not have any arms? Are you doing this with your chin? Like then that's my response
Yeah.
back. Do you have one on your arms tied behind your back? How could
Exactly.
explain to me how this would take you 4 hours? Because the other thing that we're going to get into then is you're then asking me to put a deposit on what you think this is going to be, and you're bumping it up, right? Hey, so I'm going to need half of, let's say, $900 because I think it's going to be $900. So I need $450 to even start on it, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
So remind me real quick, when you, because if I remember correctly, you questioned the cost on different things. What was the reasoning that they gave you again on the different costs for different stuff for you?
Let me pull up. I'm pulling up one of my recent.
Okay.
I usually don't give away my, but I'll use this.
I know.
Okay.
You do what you got to do, ma'am.
So, okay. Wait, where's the other one? You hooligan. I love the hooligan. I love it. I just had to say, what up, hooligan? Hooligan. Hey, is anybody out there being harassed by credit card companies trying to attempt to sue them? I'm thinking about doing a class in how to teach you how to not like how to fight a credit card company that
I'm just getting harassed about my bill.
goes to the courts and files against you.
Oh,
So if you guys think it would be worth anybody's,
That's a
wild.
good idea, though. That's a good idea.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, like Senior said, we're here for the crumbs you drop.
Right. Okay. So I'm pulling it up here. File. All right. So what I did is I had a resident reach out to me and they were like, Lana, I live here. I adore you. Can you please help me write a FOIA request so that I can submit it? Because I'm a resident here and I would get it within 3 days.
Right.
And like, why would I be paying? Like, I've been following you, watching all of this transpire. And now you've brought in so many questions and now I have so many, you open my eyes to things. Okay.
Right.
And so she's like, would you just help me with the FOIA? And then I can help you by being like, this is what I want. I just don't know how to write it all up. Can you walk me through it?
Yeah,
Or if you can even do it, like you helping me do something, but I'm the resident. Like, do you think that there's anything wrong there? I said, absolutely not. I said, especially, I think that I don't mean to sound like, but how old are you? I think that you should be asking someone like me for help because I know like my dad and stuff like that, like who's going to be more tech savvy or, hey, what do you mean I got to fill this out line? What do you mean I got to do this? Like, what the hell am I doing?
exactly. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I was like, I think you should absolutely be getting and asking me for help. And there's nothing, unethical about that or
No, not at all.
you want the
Absolutely.
information. And so here I wrote up.
You'd be the one I'd come to for help for it too. So
Yeah, to help her. Let me grab it.
I'd be curious to see a resident of Latah County, the reaction that they would get. I'd love to see that response.
I'm going to show you. Okay, so how I've been labeling my Moscow PPR request is by the dates when I put them in.
Right.
And so, okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this is from me doing it on, let's see, the date here. God bless it. Okay, Dear Moscow Legal, public records request. This is 2025 11/13. Dear Moscow Legal, I'll zoom in. Per Judge Hippler's orders, all lay, expert, and fact witness names have been unsealed. See attached screenshot of order below. The only personal identifiers Judge Hippler ordered to be redacted were addresses of lay, expert, and fact witnesses. See attached screenshot of order below. Per Megan Marshall's ruling, the bedroom photos of all the victims and surviving roommates are allowed to be released with redactions. The only photos I am seeking at this time are those photos that were taken by the telephones.
Gotcha.
Of the Moscow Police Department officers while they were at 1122 King Road on 11/13/2022 that feature the following rooms: Bethany's bedroom, the spare bedroom, Dylan's bedroom, okay, and Kaylee's bedroom. These rooms do not have blood or victims. Okay. Attached is Judge Hippler's portion of his order that pertains to my request.
Okay.
And I'll zoom in here to make this. As you can see, this is the order that he filed on 10/9/2025. Okay, the unsealing of the final. This is and so right here it says, right here, 6/25/2025, state amended notice of compliance and motion to seal state's amended witness list. There is no further justification under ICAR 32I3A to warrant the continued sealing of this document, and no valid basis for redactions. This document identifies the names, witnesses, both expert and lay, disclosed by the state in this case. The majority of the witnesses whose names have been publicly identified have reported no threats or harassment as a result. Of the few publicly identified witnesses who have experienced past threats, so this one with my law tablet or table request, this portion. So as you can see, it's laying it all out. Like the names,
Right.
which are of the law table items that were being collected and how that was all being labeled. And if there was an interview and whoever the fuck it was, this right here is the evidence that you are not to be redacting what I'm asking for with my first one that I was talking about with everybody. Now, so it says right here, further, there have been no reported episodes of threats or harassment that have placed a witness's life or safety in danger. In other words, there have not been a compelling showing that a person identified on a witness list will likely face threats or harassment of such a degree to outweigh the public's right to access. Exactly. Just like the name of a fucking last name or the first name of a witness on an index of the fucking exhibits that were taken as the items and entered onto this rolling table. How the fuck is that a public or how is that a privacy concern? It is not. And you will never win on that. I mean, these people are wild.
Right.
So here, I'm going through, finding the shit, putting it out here. This is why my shit always gets flagged. Like, fuck, who's going to answer this broad?
Yeah, right.
Fuck with her. Okay. And I'm as nice as peas about it. Like, I don't get snappy and say, suck my titties. What are you doing?
Right,
No,
exactly.
I'm over here like, hey, what kind of lunches do you guys like? You guys want some pizza? Like, I get it. Right here, unsealed. No redactions. While some of the listed witnesses may be contacted by the media and potentially harassed or threatened, this remote potentiality, guess what, does not justify the continued sealing of the record. So, boom.
What's the problem then?
Then I go to this. So that's that. Now, here I show, here it is. Here's your daddy. I show here. How do you think I have this witness list? How do you think we have this?
Right.
So then I provide this. I'm like, here it is. All these names right here, they are names on that stupid ass, what do you call it? On my law table. Okay. And so I'm like, here, why should we have the names. All I want to know is the item number says item 614, interview with redacted, but I get an S. Are you out of your mind? How am I supposed to request to hey, I want to get the audio and video of the interview with S?
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it. What do you mean you can't find it? Well, I said, oh, you can't find it? I wonder the fuck why.
Yep.
And so that's not good enough. Or it's taking me how long to find something? That's not my problem.
No,
but I'm paying for it because it's taking you so long to find something, and that counts in your fucking time that you're charging me for a FOIA. Have you all lost your minds? So completely. I just went ahead and I tic-tac-toed you, and I said, how can I go about this? That basically my one request here is going to make every domino fall. Yes. Find the first one, Lana. Go get the law tablet and show this, and you get this unredacted, and you're going to know where every piece of evidence came into, the date, and who it actually is associated with.
Uh-huh.
And then go and ask, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Am I over here showing my tricks of the trade? Yeah, it's my brain. I'm showing my brain, my intellectual property. Okay. But I want to argue. I want to get up in front of whoever and oral argue my position. And I don't care if I lose. Who gives a fuck? We're already losers right now. The worst that can happen is you tell me no. Come on. Our parents taught us better than that.
That's right.
You do it. It doesn't matter.
You're making your point.
That's what you're going to fucking win.
Let him win. Let him win. You're making your point. You're getting it on record that this is an issue. This is a problem. And yeah, 100%. I agree.
I mean, It takes me, when people wonder, probably oh God, what? Like somebody had the audacity to write something about oh, I donated to Lana once, and Lana didn't go to Delphi for something. I'm like, Lana didn't go where? Lana
What?
the fuck was in Delphi.
Yes, you were. I was there with watching
You know
you
what
while you
somebody
were there.
and you know what they said? Lana had her background up. I said, you don't think Lana's ever taken this? I drove to Delphi, number one. Number
Right.
two, there's a reason I have this up. Fucking sick asses out there. Like, but I was dying. This literally just came up in someone like literally just posted. I was like, you don't know shit.
Right.
I was like, I poured nothing but hours upon hours into this shit.
No,
Okay, so
100%.
then here I said, then I came with a bang here. PPR requested material from 1113. So this was my continued request, but I have my exhibit right behind that request. Okay. Then I
Right.
go, here's my next request, which is text messages / emails. All text / email messages to include pictures / screenshots. Detective Blaker and Dylan Mortensen from 1113 to 1117, 2022. I didn't ask for fucking the whole thing. I want to start here. I want to see what we're working with. You guys can redact only phone numbers and addresses, again, per the order, right? All text messages and emails to include pictures and screenshots between Detective Blaker and Bethany Funk. Okay. Same time period.
Right.
Why do I care about this time period? I'm going to tell you why I care about this time period. And this is the only time period that should matter. On 11/13, 2022, 4 bodies were found dead in a house. Okay. Those girls outside of that house made statements. What happened from there, literally, until they were both interviewed again, like in a sit down fashion, was the 16th and the 17th.
Right.
Okay. Even being over there and talked to in the little short time at, the police department, Blaker says something very interesting in his interview with Dylan on 11/16, or I'm sorry,
Right.
on 11/17. He tells the world in an interview that basically he's been trying to get in contact with Dylan. So he says it's the Bethany. And why isn't Dylan like talking to me?
Why doesn't she want to talk to me? I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is all that matters. 11/13 to 11/17. I want to see Blaker reaching out and what, like, because I want to know if he's lying to
Exactly.
Bethany to see if how she's going to respond to that. Because remind yourselves, he talks to Bethany on 11/16 because he flies out to Nevada. Okay, he drives to Boise. He flies out to Nevada. He has that interview on the 16th. Then literally the next day on the 17th, after the 16th, he flies in the morning on the 17th. Victoria Gooch was there, so there had to be some type of a plan to have that meeting, and Victoria Gooch is there, right? What's up, Birdie?
What's up, bro?
So when he clearly somehow tells Bethany this, that, oh yeah, like she's totally not talking to me, and do you have any, it's like, what are you blowing her up?
Yeah, right. Right.
Let's take a look. Like, so all that matters, I want to see what's being transpired between all of them. You blowing this girl up?
Let me ask you that. Do you think he's telling the truth? Or
So
do you think
then the next thing is, well, all detectives, like, I think he might be saying that to get her maybe a little wondering. Like, I think that they were very suspicious of these two early on.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. First moment they talked to him. Yes. Especially
then here's a big one right here: is any text message / emails IMs between Detective Payne and Detective Blaker from 11/13 to 12/5. Why only? And it's just pertaining to only this case. You have to say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Pertaining only to this case. You know why? Because when you're asking for their emails or whatever you're asking for, it's there. When they do a search and you just tell, here, it's going from this day to this day. Okay. And it's only for case number blank and blank, or put in the RE blank and blank. You know what I mean? Like, when they have to go through everything and to sort out what has to do with that case and what doesn't, for the most part, I think that these two are probably only talking about that, but pertain only to this case.
Right.
And I'm going to the 5th because I know that by this date, Brian Koberger's name has been entered into the lab tab names of Idaho State Police.
Yes.
In my opinion, nothing after this date remotely matters. Not in the fucking slightest. Everything
Absolutely.
that's pertinent in this case is between 11:13 and 12:05, where you want to dig. Okay, and then
Absolutely.
and then let's see, any text messages with attachments, pics, screenshots between Detective Blaker and Pullman Detective Chris Engel.
Yes.
Again, 11:13 to 12:05, pertaining only to this specific case. Ann Taylor, this is one of her requests in discovery, okay, that I think we're eventually going to get. It's just a matter of when the fuck we ever get to whatever request this was in her, almost 500 and some requests, the supplementals. But this 1000% is a request of Ann Taylor's. Like, there's no way that it's not. Police body camera. We're going to talk about being specific. Officer Noonan's at 1122 King Road on 11/13/2022 at 16:28 hours until 17:48 hours. Don't fuck with me. I will tell you where people
Absolutely.
are and when they're where they're at. Okay. I take the time to do this. I put them together so that we can have the most accurate information and that there is no guessing. Okay.
Which
And then
would
I
be,
have to feel like I have to put out some fucking fires, okay, along the way.
yeah, and it would be to their benefit too, Lana, because they're the ones that are completely, totally always bitching about us not having the facts and putting things out and causing chaos within the.
Oh, I
Well,
don't
okay,
think you guys. I think everybody's the right to have their fucking
right,
opinions.
right, but
Okay.
still, if you would give us the truth and give us the things that we're requesting, nobody would be doing that because we
But
would
I
have.
also tell you guys when I think you're absolutely off your rocker.
Yeah, right. See, and that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
they're,
but it's all just
they're
like,
causing it. It's insane. It's insane.
so it's there's it's I don't know. I think that for them to literally try to write me back on the law tablet, and for them to seriously try to sit here and tell me that this request right here, I'm going to share this one more time. This is what the law tablet was that I wanted in a huge
Yeah.
FOIA. Oh, let's see, where is it?
Yeah, that's the thing that has always killed me is they want to complain about YouTubers, this and everything else, but they don't want to give us anything. What do you expect people to do? They're going to speculate until they have facts. That's just how it works.
Okay, so right there it says law incident table.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So all of this right here that is like right here.
Right.
And so
right.
I think what they're going to see, this all stuff right here. They're going to try to say that the reason that they I believe that they're going to try the argument here is they think that I want this redacted. I don't.
No.
I don't want Bethany and the fact that she's a 911 caller, and how do you already have her social security number at that point?
That's
Think about that. Think about that.
Yep.
This has never been filled in any single one of my requests when I was doing them early on in this case before there was a suspect arrested.
Right.
And there was not a single time that you could ever find a social security number for the person's phone that called 911.
Right. Yeah.
And so how did this ever, you know what I mean? Like, that was wild to me
that's kind of out there unless there was some kind of previous incident or something that they had
it's just really weird.
Still.
And the fact that, this complaint in it, unless this was, however, again, maybe this was written up the way that it looks like to me, though. Here it is. Nope. 1156. This was a C-Cell 911.
Yeah.
And so it came back to telephone number this, city, Reno.
Oh, wait a minute. That has her. Okay. That's got her home address.
That's the complainant. See, Funk Bethany. Then date of birth. Okay. Social security number. Again, never have I seen this.
No.
Nobody's social security number. Like, how did that pop up? When was that entered? And like, when did you ask for someone's social security number? Because we watched all of these interviews when,
Not that I ever heard, but maybe that's the part they have redacted.
From Reno. Her actual ID probably says Reno. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where she's
But
from.
again, usually when stuff just pops up on the color, if it's like something that was trace located and stuff like that. So
Right.
I just have questions about that. And
No, I
it doesn't
agree with
matter.
you. That's off for sure.
But right here, this is the stuff that I wanted redacted or unredacted because it should be right here. Blank Prince. I'm sorry, but this D last name, Prince here, okay,
Uh,
right here, 5/29/2025. This is Jack Decor,
right.
1000%. But I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to fucking say that. And people say, how the fuck do you know that? Because I read documents. But
Right.
but I know that that's Jack Decor because
Well,
the
not
police
to
went
mention
to
they don't
him. There's
even
a
do it.
report that was written up on that same day. There's a report that was written up on that same day. But I don't have fucking time to sit here. And I'm right here though, 5/29. So remember how they're trying to tell us that everybody was, there was everybody was volunteering their prints and their buckle swabs, right?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Then why is Jack Decor's prints going and being obtained literally right before the trial starts?
I was gonna say that back. Yeah, I was getting ready to say, like, didn't they go like in May sometime and reprint here? Go get his prints then.
For the first time ever. And they had to do that because of what Ann Taylor was filing, because she was labeling Jack Decor as one of the four persons of interest for the whole suspect crap, like the
Right,
third party culpability. So when do
right.
they need to go? They're like, listen, somebody needs to get through to this kid and his lawyer and say, I thought you said like we need you to look like you've been cooperating.
Yeah,
Again, there's no knock on Jack Decor. Like he doesn't owe those guys fucking shit. Okay. But to sit here and try to push the narrative that in like Ashley Jennings did and Hewitt and all these guys push this narrative that everybody was just volunteering their shit. They were not.
no, 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 no.
Okay. It is common practice for people to be asked, hey, can you give us can you give us your DNA? Is that
Yeah,
you volunteering to give it or was it asked of you?
no. They make it sound like everybody came running to them and said, "Here, you can have my prints, and here's my DNA and all that stuff." Yeah, it didn't work that way, guys.
Only one person, that Reagan guy. Anyways, this is what I wanted to be redacted. It was based off of Judge Hippler's order. This right here, this person's name with this interview that's being entered into evidence on this day, okay, on 10/28/2024. All right.
SP, maybe.
It doesn't, it's this name should be known to us because we're allowed to know because the order says so. This
Right.
person's fingerprints ready. This is Funke
Yeah.
fingerprints, in my opinion.
Well, they
And
don't do a good job of redacting anyway. You know that. You can see it right there. So,
well, it could be. I mean, it could be something else. But again, why are Bethany's fingerprints? Her a second go around. It looks like it says two like one. You
yeah.
guys, September 6th of 2024. Those should have been the first.
First, for the day of the 13th, that should have been done. Yeah,
Look at
agreed.
Funk's fingerprints. This is, see how right here says two. Okay.
August 20th of 24. That's insane.
Okay. And so look at, they fucked something up, it looks like. And hey, we need to do this again. I don't know. We didn't roll it right. You know what I mean? Like this is just what.
Right.
And then here, right here, B, last name B. Okay. Data. This person with the last name, some type of data. Okay. And then you just have to look and see, go look at a police report that was written up on this day and something collected, because there's usually going to be a police report associated
Sure.
with somebody that did something on that day. Then, but this is the law table. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the daddy of all daddies. Okay. This is what you want. And them thinking that they can redact these and not give these names is absolutely trash. And you're saying that you're doing it because it's for privacy interests.
Protecting.
Absolutely not. It's
No.
that doesn't outweigh the public's right to know how this investigation truly unfolded. And we're not going to play guessing games. And the judge already ordered it that it needs to be unsealed.
Yes.
And so this is where we're going to go to town and we're going to appeal this and we're going to see what boat it takes us on. And
See, this is why I think you're gonna win this, Lana. Your argument,
I'm going to win.
yeah, your argument's beyond strong, and it points directly at the fact that they're destroying their own order in a sense. I mean, it should void it, in my opinion. So yeah, your argument's very strong. I hope you win it. I think you will. That's my opinion. I can't wait either. Good God, I can't wait. I'd love to see Hitler's face too. Jesus, I would love to see his face with this. I can't stand him if you can't tell. If you haven't heard, I can't handle him at all.
I just got another response. Lana, the request you submitted to the city is asking for records with unredacted information. The city is not changing its interpretation of the privacy exemption of the Public Requests Act and will continue to redact people's names, leaving only initials, and will not release any photos of bedrooms.
Why?
Again,
Why?
again, all of this denial, it's already been ruled on. Megan Marshall already ruled on it. So this is wild. I literally just got this at 12:35. It's 12:59. Based on this information, do you wish to continue with this request and receive a cost letter that will result in records that will have some names redacting, leaving initials?
Jesus Christ.
Let me see which request this is from. Okay, that's the one that I just. Oh, this was the Big Daddy one.
They aren't releasing bedrooms photos. Wonder why.
That's a big answer, though. I gotta print this. I gotta read over this so I can respond properly. But it's funny that they say we're not changing the price. We're not going to go ahead and change any statutes, Lana. So would you like? And it's like, well, I just need you to deny me, and then from there, I can then proceed with the next. And we're not asking for anything to be changed. We're asking you to redact in accord with the orders that have been put out.
Exactly. Follow the order. Wow.
So, I mean,
I want to know their true to life explanation as to why they're doing this. Like, honestly, because it makes no sense.
And what I can't believe is that you're literally, I'm still going to be requesting that. I'll just say, okay, item number 614. That's the interview that I would like. Can you please send that my way? And if you think about it, it could be an interview that I don't even like. I'm trying to get things in priority here. Like,
yeah, of course.
An interview with, Joe the janitor right now is just not on my list like that. But hey, if we have to go, also I'm trying to go in a specific order so that it's in, chronological order. It's really hard to do a documentary and you're like, you don't know who the person is. That
of course.
It's funny that you did not give James Patterson only initials when you guys did your fucking book.
Howard Blum, same thing. Yeah. And the media when they give them their stuff, it just blows my mind.
So again,
yeah, I think you're gonna win this. I truly think you're gonna win this. I'm excited for it.
So I gotta print off.
I can't wait to see what happens after the fact too.
Yeah, and guys, trust me, like it's not the people. It's not the people that work, and I know that it's being run with like just like a couple people. It's not them. It's someone's calling the shots. Trust me. I don't care what anybody says. But I just think that they should be. How are you not following what Judge Hippler is saying? How are you not following what Megan Marshall? Like that's my request was within their. I cited their fucking order. And so I guess I would like you to show me how I'm misinterpreting this because let's read it one more time here.
I guess you got to call them and tell them your dateline, Lana, and then they'll give you everything you want.
Lana. So City of Moscow public request. They're asking me for clarification in my request. Lana, the request you submitted to the city is asking for records with unredacted information. Like, just like I got before. Like when I would do, hey, I needed the, what do you call it? Hey, I want body camera and the police report of this incident, right? Mm-hmm. Boom, I got my request back and never once in 2022 in December
Yeah.
or January, were they redacting the 911 caller? Were they redacting the names of the guy with the sign? You know, they weren't
Yeah.
redacting that.
No.
So the request you submitted to the city is asking for records with unredacted information. The city is not changing its interpretation of the privacy exemption of the Public Records Act. So that's their interpretation of it, which means I have to argue my interpretation of it.
But yours is based on the way it's written and
My
the truth.
interpretation of and they're saying it's of the Public Records Act. And my interpretation is that you have to show that it outweighs.
Well, I mean, that's what the court's thing is about.
Well, that's what it says.
Yeah, the interpretation, and then they have to explain why they interpret it the way that they do as compared to the way you do and the rest of us do. Yeah, okay. Nobody asked you to change it, like you said.
And will continue to redact people's names, leaving only initials, and will not release any photos of bedrooms. Remember, I just showed you guys how I was saying the only bedrooms I want, there's no bodies in them. Okay.
Right.
And because I want to know why the police felt the need to go into Dylan's room and to start photographing on 11/19.
Yeah.
What the fuck? 11/19. Why is Joe Lake up in that motherfucker photographing? The murders were on 11/13.
6 days later, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, based on this information, do you wish to continue with this request and receive a... Dude, my request is hella... My request has...
We'll still give it to you, but it's only going to be initials, which makes no sense to me because we can still figure that out. So you're not doing any good with
Well,
it.
I'm going to have to get back to them because my request has way more than just a bit. This isn't about the bedrooms. This is 17 items. This request has 17 items. So yay, it's finally my turn because they go in a specific order. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I gotta work on my FOIAs here.
Yes, ma'am.
You gotta get a response over here. If you think about it, it's only it's 10 a.m. there, and I can get some stuff done here.
Hit him hard. Hit him hard.
But you guys all rock. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for popping on, my motherfucker.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can get you over on my side for a little while again too. Everybody loves it when you pop over there. So please, if you get some time.
Yes, I will.
100%. But I love you to death.
I'll email you. I got some time over here in the next 5 days, so again, nice little stretch.
Yes.
So
let's do it. We appreciate you. We appreciate your hard work and everything you do behind it, girl. You know that.
Oh yes, you guys, everyone's awesome here. Murky, thank you so much. Thank you so much, buddy. I love that fire in the background. Looks cozy.
I wish it was real. I wish it was real.
It's not pumping out anything for you?
Hell no. That's my TV doing. That's just for ambience for all you guys watching in the background.
Oh, trying to set the tone.
Yes. You know
I
how
got you.
All
right, brother. All right, guys, I'm all out. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Till next time, truth and transparency over and out. Cheers.